What's going on, everyone? So Rob Pelinka did his thing. If he doesn't win GM of the year or executive of the year this year, I don't know what to say. This dude took a team that was just in the Western Conference Finals that he basically just pieced together at the trade deadline last year and just expanded on that, kept all the pieces that were good, and ended up adding new pieces that should be extremely impactful. I mean, you want to talk about a completely revamped, modern championship level roster. Rob Pelinka did that, right? You have all the size, you got tons of switchability, you got 3-point shooting, you got defense, you got the 2 stars, you got the third complimentary guy in Austin Reeves. Like you got everything you need to win an NBA championship, right? On the surface, you look at this roster, the Lakers should be one of, if not the best teams in the entire league. They're probably number 1 defensively, and they'll probably be top 5 offensively at the worst. I mean, they were 7th last year, 116 and some change. Number 1 offense was the Kings, Sacramento, who had 120 and some change per game. To think the Lakers can't be, 2 to 4 points better this year with a full season of an emerged Austin Reeves, a full season of D'Lo, Rui, Christian Wood, right? Gabe Vincent, all these other guys. Like, you're telling me that they can't be 2 to 4 points better this year? Like, I absolutely could see them being number 1 offense, number 1 defense. I think at worst, they're top 5 in both, which, to put in perspective, the only team last year that was top 5 in both was the Boston Celtics. So that would make the Lakers one of the top 2, maybe number 1 team. Now, I don't think that they're going to be as concerned necessarily with seeding, right? Obviously, if they're that good, they'll be the 1 seed regardless. But I look at a team like Sacramento, where the 1 seed means everything to them, because they're probably not winning an NBA championship. They're a young team that is coming up into their own. They're going to want to really push to try to have that home court throughout the playoffs and be a tough place to win at, right? Where the Lakers, if they're a couple games out, they're not going to push for that 1 seed. Right, they'll be fine playing in the 2 seed and just going through that course, right? Or if they're the 3 seed and say, there's 5 games left, we can either rest everybody and be healthy for the playoffs, or we can go push for that 2 or 1 seed. Lakers are probably resting everybody to be healthy for the playoffs. It's how it's going to go. But there is still one thing missing with this Lakers roster, and that is what the 2020 team had. This roster, in my opinion, is the deepest roster the Lakers have had in a very long time, right? I mean, maybe the 2010 roster, they're deeper front to back than the 2020 roster was. This might be the deepest roster LeBron has ever had front to back. Again, I understand, people, whenever I said that in the past, people were like, yeah, but they had this guy, yes, because they were very front heavy. They had, 6 or 7 guys that were, yes, very good. Right? They had, the 3 superstars, and then they had the other 3 to 4 complementary players. And they had some names, right? Like Ray Allen and stuff like that. But he wasn't the Ray Allen that we know, right? He wasn't, Seattle Supersonics Ray Allen, or, even Boston's Ray Allen for that matter, right? He was still good. He still had a guy on his roster. But this roster is legitimately 12 of the 14 guys deep. Not counting the 2 rookies, which I do think could easily fill in on any night for a handful of minutes, but they'll probably never see the floor. What LeBron team has legitimately had 12 guys that all could be in the argument for the starting unit. So LeBron's got the roster, the Lakers have the roster, everything. Here's the thing that the 2020 team had that we need to see if this team has, and that's the chemistry, right? That 2020 team was special. And you saw it from the jump. I mean, they were having movie nights. They were having slumber parties, pillow fights. They were doing it all, right? They were truly enjoying their time and experience together, right? They were a team that played for each other. Everyone sacrificed, including Kuzma, who he was young and was the guy that no one saw coming, that came out of left field, that was trying to earn a spot, trying to get a big contract, stuff like that. Everybody on that roster sacrificed. Rondo, who is huge in our reason for winning an NBA championship, he didn't even play half the season. You had so many guys that understood the assignment, and that's to go win this NBA championship. And they were the number one seed the entire season, top offense, top defense, all of that. Like, they were the team to beat. And even into the bubble, you saw all of that translate. The reason the Lakers were so mentally tough is because they had each other. You heard everyone talking about how, like, oh, it sucks. We don't have our family. We don't have, fans. We don't have this. We don't have that. But the Lakers had each other. They were hanging out in each other's hotel rooms. They were partying. Like, they were having a blast. You saw it translate on the court, right? You saw every time something happened, the entire bench would get up and waving towels and, doing silly dances and doing the worm on the floor. And, a guy falls and the entire bench runs over and picks the guy up, right? Like, they were doing, now they can't do some of that. The NBA has kind of changed some of that stuff, right? You have to stay in your seat and stuff like that. So I'm not saying like, oh, if the Lakers, guys on the floor and no one went in to go help them from the bench, because you can't the way you used to be able to. But it's that level of chemistry that led to so much success for the Lakers. They had that specialness in that group, in that unit, that just was, hey, like, let's go win a chip. They had the mission, they had the target, they sacrificed for each other. They did whatever it took. They all bought into the purpose. They all bought into the cause. And that's the only way that this Lakers team wins. This Lakers team, talent-wise, is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But can they all buy in for the cause? You have guys like Christian Wood, who's trying to prove himself. Jared Vanderbilt's going to need an extension. Hopefully he gets it before. But you got, guys like Jackson Hayes. You got Taurean Prince. You got Cam Reddish. Even D'Angelo Russell to an extent. All these guys that are trying to show, I'm that guy. Like, I can be a huge factor. I can be this. I need a new contract, right? Jackson Hayes is on a prove-it deal, right? Like, Christian Wood is on a prove-it deal. Cam Reddish, in a lot of ways, is on a prove-it deal. Taurean Prince, he's a little more established. He'll be fine. I'm not really so much worried about him, but still, he is a guy that is going to very likely want a bigger contract. Even Max Christie. Right? Even Max Christie is going to be due. Right? So, will these guys all be committed to the cause? Right? Are all these guys going to be willing to sacrifice? Is Christian Wood, if he only gets 10 minutes one night, because Hayes is having some monster game or something, or he just has it going or whatever, right? Like, is he going to be okay with, hey, no problem, it was for the greater good? Or is he going to start crying and pouting and throwing tantrums? That disrupts the chemistry, that disrupts the locker room, right? D'Lo, if, he gets benched and he doesn't close games down the stretch, does he start pouting? Does he start crying? Does he start like, oh man, like we saw that a little bit in the playoffs. Where, Darvin M finally did. He said, like, I'm not happy about it, but, it is what it is type thing. Like, if that is a regular occurrence, he's not going to be happy about that. But can he look past that and go, this is for the greater good? Cam Reddish, who came here because he's kind of been this guy that's been the odd man out everywhere he's gone and wanted to come to a place that wanted him. And the Lakers wanted him. The Lakers tried to trade for him on several occasions, right? Is he going to be a guy that many nights might not even play? Is he going to be okay with that? All of these guys are going to have to sacrifice. All of these guys are going to have to be committed. Even guys that already have contracts. Rui. You don't think Rui wants to play 30 minutes a night? Of course he does. Is he going to be okay with playing, 15 minutes some nights? Maybe he does have the night where he plays 30 minutes. But is he going to be okay with, like, hey, tonight, dude, Prince is just going off, man. We got to leave him in the game. He's 6 of 8 from 3. He's killing it. Right? Like, sorry, buddy. Like, is he going to be like, you know what? I'm happy for him. Go get it. Let's get this dub. Right? Like, let's do this as a team. Right? There's a lot that goes into that. We've seen rosters get put together that, hand them the chip. Right? And it doesn't work out. The Lakers have had several of those. I mean, that 2012 team, right? Where you had Dwight, Nash, Metta World Peace, Kobe, and Pau Gasol. On paper, give them the chip. Here, give them the next 3. It didn't work out. They barely scraped by that entire season, and it took Kobe tearing his Achilles and shooting free throws in a historic fashion that sounds like out of a movie to even allow them to make the playoffs. And then they ended up getting smacked, right? And then that doesn't work. I mean, even to a lesser extent, right? With Karl Malone and Gary Payton. Yeah, that team made the finals, but they didn't win. It's championship or bust for this team, right? Although I do think that roster, if Karl Malone didn't get hurt, I actually think that they would have won, but that's neither here nor there. The point being that we've seen rosters be thrown together. The Phoenix Suns is another roster. As deep and talented as the Lakers roster is, on paper, give Phoenix the NBA championship right now. Right? I mean, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, DeAndre Ayton. Who cares who the other fifth guy is, right? Like, but there's more to it than that. How does that look? How do all those mouths eat? Is Bradley Beal going to be okay being the third option? Is he going to be okay, getting 10 shot attempts per game and going from, 23 to 25 points per game to like 15 points per game, right? And having to be the point guard. Is Kevin Durant and Devin Booker going to be okay? Who's going to be the number one option? Is it Devin Booker? So KD's number 2, right? Is DeAndre Ayton okay? I mean, he was already crying about his touches and not getting focused more. That was before you had Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. That was with just Chris Paul and Devin Booker. What happens now when you got Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant? Who, they're not as pass friendly as like Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a true point guard, right? Like, chemistry is a big factor. And LeBron James, he's going to have his work cut out for him. But so is Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham, this dude's going to really have to figure this out, right? He's going to earn his paycheck this year. I do not envy him at all because he's going to have to manage egos. He's going to have to flush out the rotations and the lineups, who plays, people's feelings are going to be hurt. He's going to have to convince everybody to buy in, be with the team, be on a common goal, ride for each other, grind for each other, right? He's going to have to deal with guys on bad nights, upset. He's going to have to really navigate this, and look, I have all the faith in the world in Darvin Ham. I do. I mean, look, however you feel about him coaching-wise, I don't think he's a bad coach at all. I mean, the guy was given a big steaming pile of you-know-what, and through all of the turmoil, all of the craziness, led that team to a Western Conference Finals, right? Like, you don't do that without good coaching. But however you feel about his coaching, the one thing you can't deny is this dude has the gift of gab, right? This guy can just get anybody, it seems like, to just run through a brick wall, right? He even got Russell Westbrook to completely change his game and come off the bench and stuff like that, right? Like, you see what Darvin Ham has been able to do. I mean, even dating back to like Milwaukee and stuff. And luckily, he has connections with a lot of the guys. Even Christian Wood. Right? That was one of the big things Christian Wood talked about. Was like, one of the reasons I signed was my relationship with Darvin Ham, my connection with Darvin Ham. Back to like the Milwaukee days, right? This is a player coach. He's going to understand. He's going to know. But he's also been a guy that has had to sacrifice and be a role guy and come off the bench and do stuff. So he knows, like, hey, man, like, I was there. I wanted to play 30 minutes, but I couldn't. I had to do what's best for the team, right? Like, he's going to have to manage a lot. But I fully believe in him. I fully believe in this team. And in my opinion, that's the only thing that's left. Building that chemistry, building those relationships. If that happens, Lakers are good. I fully believe Lakers win the chip this year. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Somewhere in between? Love to hear it. Let me know down